Hey, what's up everyone? Eric here from Producer Dudes, and today is a very exciting day because I finally got my hands on something I wanted for a while, which is the UAD Arrow. And so this is a Thunderbolt 3 interface that I'll be using with my PC, and I'm going to walk you through how to open this guy up, get it hooked up, and then also how to start using it. And so without further ado, let's check it out. Awesome. Now before we actually open this guy up, I do want to mention right now, as of October 2018, Sweetwater is actually giving away Thunderbolt cables with their Thunderbolt interfaces. So if you're in the market for one right now, but you're like, oh, I don't want to spend 30 bucks on a cable, well, now's the time to get it. So now we're going to unbox the Arrow. So as you can see, it comes in a pretty clean box, nothing too flashy, gives you a handful of the different plugins that come included, some tech specs, etc. And it's held shut by a single guy, so we're gonna pop that open. Ooh, that feels good every single time. Well, here it is, the Universal Audio Arrow. It is a Thunderbolt interface, like I said before. What's special about this one is that it is Thunderbolt bus powered, which means if you have Thunderbolt 3, 1, you can use it, and then 2, you don't have to have an external power supply. So this is going to be great for mobile recording rigs, especially if you have a MacBook Pro that already has this type of input everywhere. Also, you get these 2 XLR inputs and line inputs, and then you have a left and a right speaker. That's more than enough for my home setup, and a high Z input for your guitars, bass guitars, and a headphone jack. And so, well, let's hook it up and see how this thing sounds. So, up until this point, including this moment right now, you are hearing, as you can see right there, we are using the Quantum by Presonus interface for this portion of the demo. Whenever I get the Arrow hooked up, you'll be hearing what the Arrow's pre sound like. And so if you'd like a comparison, you're getting to experience it right now. All right, so the Arrow's plugged in. It's all good to go. Unfortunately, when Sweetwater says they're throwing in a Thunderbolt 3 cable, they don't tell you that it's this long. It's maybe this long, but it's definitely like not incredibly usable unless you are the guy using a laptop. If you're using a laptop, it's fine. If you're using a desktop, there's going to be an issue. And so I spent the last hour or so actually rearranging my whole universe over here, put my PC on a table, which has been on the plans to do for a while, and this kind of forced me to have to do that, which is, I guess, good. But I got it plugged in and everything seems to be working smoothly. This audio is the dry in of what UAD pre sound like, and so I think they sound pretty freaking good. I'm really excited to be using this platform again. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to check out the Unison plugins. And so when you open up your console, you're going to see analog 1, which is my main input. And if you want these to take effect in Pro Tools and actually print to Pro Tools, you're going to want to make sure you have UAD record enabled over here. And what that's going to do is, instead of just listening through like the actual UAD stuff, this is going to print whatever happens in here onto your actual audio file that's happening here. And so let's go ahead and add something. Got a preamp, and I want to do a Neve 1073. Check 1, 2, and there you go. Now, this sounds pretty good. There are a few things we can do to improve or mess with the sound, and that is using their EQ right here. And so you have this high filter that's gonna do a few things, but now you notice nothing's happening. And it's because in this plugin, you actually have to enable the EQ setting. And so check this out. Check 1, 2, check, 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 check. That's pretty bright. Check, 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 and that's pretty dull. Check 1, 2. I feel pretty happy with it. Check 1, 2, a little boosted, maybe a little boosted. Let's do a little boosted. And then we come to our mid, and we can boost. And on this knob, check what kind of frequency is being boosted. And what I typically do with a Neve style pre's, and I'm actually gonna turn the gain down just a little bit because I'm clipping, is finding a harsh or wonky sound and then cutting some of it back. Check 1, 2, check, 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 check. Hey, what's up everyone? Check, 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 check. And if I dial some of that back, I get a clearer, cleaner voice, especially because mine is so mid-present and I am a mumbler. So I think that sounds pretty good right there. Let me add some low cut, high pass. Check 1 2, check 1 2, and right there you got a very crisp, clean voice. But I think that's a little too much for me because you guys know I have a little bit of bass in my voice. And as you can see, it's adjusted throughout the actual recording that this has happened. And that is the beauty of the Unison plugins. It's like having analog gear, but you have a digital version. Now, say for some reason I loved exactly what I did here, and I'm hearing it in headphones right now, so I'm not getting a good representation of how this sounds. But say I loved it and I want to keep this. I can actually go over here to menu and save this whole setup, and I'll call it YouTube test. And voila, I can mess with this, make it really weird. Check 1 2, check 1 2, check. And if I was like, oh, I ruined it, how do I get back to where I was? I can actually open and don't save. That'll ruin the purpose. And bam, we have this voice back, which is great. I love the idea that I'm able to save stuff because I do some podcasting with different people. It's going to be great to be able to find an awesome sound for their voice and be able to save it and also be able to recall those things later, especially if I have a vocal client coming in earlier in the day and we start recording vocals for a song, and then I do a YouTube video later, and then after that I'm playing game with my little brother on Twitch, and then after that we do a podcast the next day. It's going to be cool that I'm able to look at the Arrow, save my settings, and then recall them for each thing. Now that is freaking genius. Well, hey YouTube, I hope this video was helpful. As you can see, the Arrow is working great with my PC that I built. The transition has been interesting. There's been a fair share of my head banging my head against the wall just because I'm used to OS X, but you know what? It's been a lot of fun, and I'm glad that I can use stuff like this with it now. It's really a treat. And so if you have any questions about the Arrow or want to see any specific kind of videos about it, drop a comment below. Subscribe and like the video, please, if you enjoyed this. And if you enjoy some of my fun stuff back there, got some pops, got some games, got some books, got some comics. But you know, I really appreciate you guys watching if you stuck through it this long. And if you have any questions about it, again, comment. If you have any personal experiences or things you love about it, leave it in the comment below. And if you hate the thing, go ahead and leave a comment. That's, you know, a lot of good discussions are had when people are honest. And so I'm having a blast with this so far. I'm going to foresee a good amount of productions being used with this. And the great thing about actually having a PC, like that guy right there, is I have PCI slots. What that means is if I want more DSP, I can actually just buy a DSP card from UAD, and I can have an Octo PCI card in there, and I can have 9 cards of DSP, which is freaking insane. Well, with that said, this is Eric, Producer Dudes. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I'll catch y'all next time.